Welcome to Rock Valley College. Thank you for taking the time to view our First Time Loan Borrower podcast. The reason for this counseling is to ensure that first-time borrowers understand both their responsibilities and their rights as student loan borrowers. Over the next few minutes, we will guide you through some of the most important financial decisions you will make in your life. Thank you again for choosing Rock Valley College. We hope your time here is well spent. As you enter into your first year, you may have a lot of questions. For example, you've taken out a student loan. What kind of loan do you have? Are there different types? These are great questions to be asking, and the answers are simple. First, yes, there are two different types of student loans. The first is a subsidized, direct Stafford loan. This loan is a need-based loan as determined by your financial aid application. The benefits of a subsidized loan are that the federal government pays the interest for you while you are in school for at least 6 credit hours. The second type of loan is an unsubsidized direct Stafford loan. The Department of Education does charge interest on your unsubsidized loan during all periods, starting on the day it is disbursed. You may also be wondering, what can my student loan funds cover? Well, it is important to remember that aid is for educational expenses only. The amount you receive is designed to help cover your cost of attendance. Examples of these costs include, but are not limited to, tuition, books, lab fees, activities fees, housing, and transportation. The best way to avoid the risks of overborrowing is to develop a well-thought-out budget. This can help you minimize the amount you need to borrow and therefore minimize the amount you need to repay. Make a list of your expected monthly expenses and subtract that number from your available sources of income. Income could include your student aid and any monies earned through outside employment. If you discover your expenses are greater than your income, you will need to reduce your expenses or find other sources of income, or both. You can also use a budget to see how much you can afford to repay based on your estimated income and expenses after you leave school. This estimated budget can also help you decide how much you can afford to borrow. Remember, A, B, C. Always borrow conservatively. Another question you may be asking yourself is, do you have to pay interest on these loans? And how much is that going to cost me? The Department of Education does not charge interest on your subsidized loan while you are enrolled at least half time, during your grace period, or during your deferment periods. The Department of Education, however, will charge interest on your subsidized loans during all other periods, starting the day after your grace period ends. This also includes forbearance periods. The Department of Education charges interest on your unsubsidized loan during all periods, starting the day it is disbursed. Direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans have a fixed interest rate. Fixed rates are just like what they sound, a set rate for the life of the loan. The interest rate on direct subsidized loans for undergraduate students is based on the first disbursement date. The interest rate for direct subsidized Stafford loans for the 2011-2012 academic year is 3.4%. The interest rate for direct unsubsidized loans is fixed at 6.8%. The Department of Education does not charge interest on your subsidized loan while you are enrolled at least half time, during your grace period, and during deferment periods. The Department of Education does charge interest on your direct subsidized loan during all other periods starting on the day your grace period ends, and this also includes forbearance periods. The Department of Education will charge interest on your unsubsidized loan during all periods starting the day it is dispersed. Well, that was a lot to take in. So when should you start paying interest? Can you wait until you graduate? The answer depends. If you choose not to pay the interest on your subsidized direct Stafford loan while you're in school, the Department of Education will add it to the unpaid principal amount of your loan. This is called capitalization. Capitalization increases the unpaid principal balance of your loan, and the Department of Education then will charge interest on this increased principal amount. It will save you money in the long run if you pay the interest as it accrues. You can make these payments while you're in school or during the grace period. This is also true if you pay any interest that accrues during periods when you defer loan payments after leaving school. Check your interest statements and use the online calculators at www.dl.ed.gov to find out how much you'll pay over the life of the loan if the in-school interest is added to your loan balance. As you progress through college, and even after you graduate, you must make sure to keep your loan account updated. Who should you notify if you move or change your name? The most common reason a loan goes into default is because the Department of Education does not have current information on a borrower. Until you graduate or leave school, you must notify the lender and your school about certain changes. Contact your school and the Direct Loan Servicing Center if you either change your name, change your address or telephone number, do not enroll at least half-time, or enroll at a school other than the school which has certified your loan. And of course, you must notify them if you've graduated. You must also notify the Department of Education of any changes occurring after you leave school, or any other changes that would affect your loan, if, for example, your eligibility for a deferment or forbearance has ended. You must also notify the Direct Loan Servicing Center if any of these changes listed happen after you leave school. In addition, you must notify the Direct Loan Servicing Center if you have any other change that would affect your loan. If you are a reservist called to active duty for more than 30 days, the time you serve generally doesn't count against your grace period. For more information, see your copy of the Borrower's Rights and Responsibilities Statement for additional details. So by now you may be asking yourself, when do you have to start repaying your loan? The answer is simple. When you leave school, you may need some time to find the right job or perhaps move to a new place. The Department of Education understands, and so that you won't have to start making payments on your loan right after you leave school, each of your direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans has a 6-month grace period that starts the day after you stop attending school or you drop below half-time enrollment. During this grace period, you don't have to make payments. The Department of Education will let you know when the grace period is coming to an end and when you need to make your first payment. Interest, however, does continue to accrue on any unsubsidized loan. Now that you know when you have to repay your loan, you might be wondering, how do you repay your loan? The answer is really simple. There are several repayment options, and you will be informed of these options when completing online exit counseling or checking into repayment at the websites listed on this slide. Throughout the first half of this counseling, you may have heard that you have rights as a borrower. What exactly does that mean? Well, remember, as we have been stressing, you must repay your loans. Unfortunately, there may be situations that arise which make repayment difficult for students once they have graduated. Borrowers' rights provide options for repayment in these various circumstances. So what exactly are your borrower's rights when it comes to repayment? Well, we encourage you to start making payments on time. However, If you are in a situation where repayment is either impossible, difficult, or would place you and your family under severe economic hardship, there are options to help ease but not eliminate the burden. These options are deferments or forbearances. Make sure you take advantage of deferments and forbearances when you need them. In order to qualify for a deferment or forbearance, you must meet specific guidelines laid out by the Department of Education. We will provide you with a few examples. If you return to school at least half-time at an eligible school which participates in the Department of Education's federal student aid programs, you may qualify for a deferment. You may also qualify if you are unemployed, meet the Department of Education's rules for economic hardship, are serving on active military duty during a war or other military operation or national emergency, or if you're performing qualifying National Guard service during the same times, and if you are serving on or after October 1st, 2007 for the 180-day period following the demobilization date for your qualifying service. If you are a member of the National Guard or other reserve component of the U.S. Armed Forces, current or retired, and are called or ordered to active duty while enrolled in an eligible school, or within 6 months after having been enrolled, you would qualify for a deferment. Forbearances also allow you to defer loan payments in certain situations, such as during an illness. The examples which we have given you are just those, examples. Your specific circumstances will dictate whether you qualify for a deferment and forbearance. We encourage you to speak with the Department of Education during these periods to ensure that you are taking advantage of your borrower's rights. During the next few minutes, we will be talking about the most important component of your responsibilities as a borrower, default. When does a student loan go into default? Default occurs when you become 270 days delinquent in making payments. You are delinquent if your monthly payment is not received by the due date. If you fail to make a payment, the Department of Education will send you a reminder that your payment is late. If your account remains delinquent, the Department of Education will send you warning notices, reminding you of your obligation to repay your loan and the consequences of default. Fees may be added if your payments are late, and your delinquency will be reported to one or more national credit bureaus. If you do not resolve this delinquency before your account reaches 270 days past due, your loans will be declared in default. If a default claim is paid, the entire balance of your loans will become due, and you will no longer be eligible for any Title IV financial aid or for any of the prior options we have discussed. At some point, you may be worried that you won't be able to pay back your loans. Is that a big deal? Should you be concerned? The answer is yes. Defaulting on student loans carries severe negative consequences. The Department of Education will report your default to national credit bureaus. Future employment, your ability to rent an apartment or get a mortgage may be affected if a credit check is processed if you have defaulted on your student loans. The Department of Education may also sue you. In doing so, they may take all or part of your federal tax refund, other federal payments, even garnish your wages so that your employer is required to pay the government directly until your loan is satisfied. If this occurs, you will also have to pay collection fees and other costs, plus court costs and attorney's fees. You will lose eligibility for other federal student aid and most other federal benefit programs. You will no longer be eligible for loan deferments, such as deferments while you are in school, unemployed, or experiencing economic hardship. You may lose professional licenses, have your name published in local media outlets under regulatory actions, and may be precluded from employment at the state or federal level. This sounds very scary, and it is. But remember, as we have mentioned previously in this counseling session, there is help out there to prevent students from having to deal with the realities of default. Make sure you take advantage of the resources at your disposal. As we wrap up this counseling session, remember, you have many options to consider when repaying your loan, or if you're having difficulty making these payments. Some of these options we have gone over before. Deferment. Take advantage of deferments and forbearances when you need them. You may qualify for a deferment under a number of circumstances. For example, if you return to school at least half-time, if you are unemployed or meet Department of Education rules for economic hardship, or if you are serving on active military duty during a war, or if you were called to active duty while enrolled at an eligible school. Forbearances are options. Please contact your lender or servicer for more information on forbearances. Loan consolidation. You may also be eligible to consolidate your loans. Loan consolidation often reduces your monthly student loan payment. There are also alternative payment plans. You could qualify for income-sensitive, graduated, or lower payment plans in order to pay off your student loans. Alright, you've made it this far. You are committed to receiving a degree from Rock Valley College. How can you make sure you are a responsible borrower and can pay back your loans once you've graduated? What can you do right now to make sure your financial future is as bright as your academic one? Well, that is a great question. There are many things you can do to ensure your path to financial independence is clear of any unnecessary obligations. First and foremost, borrow conservatively. Remember, A, B, C. Always borrow conservatively. Make sure the loans you take out are spent wisely on your education and not on unrelated purchases. Keep in contact with your lender. Open communication with the right people can keep you informed of any changes that may arise during the life of your loan. Budget wisely to avoid overborrowing, and plan ahead to keep any potential surprises from drastically altering your financial situation. Research the many repayment options offered through the federal government, and keep in contact with Rock Valley College to make sure you are receiving the most up-to-date information. Finally, make sure you understand that money borrowed is not money earned. You have responsibilities as a student borrower. You are responsible for repayment of the loans in accordance with the terms and conditions stated on the master promissory note. You must make at least the minimum monthly payment and notify the lender of any changes in demographic or school information. What happens if you don't make those minimum monthly payments? Well, if minimum monthly payments or other arrangements are not made, the default will be reported to national credit bureaus. Wages could be garnished, tax refunds may be collected for loan repayment. Additionally, you may be sued for repayment of the loan and will be responsible for any costs or fees related to that lawsuit. If you have any questions about your loan or have concerns, you can contact Borrower Services directly. For information about everything related to direct loan repayment, contact Borrower Services at the Direct Loan Servicing Center at 1-800-848-0979. Remember, that's 1-800-848-0979. This information is also available online at www.dl.ed.gov. Thank you for attending the online first-time borrower loan counseling. You are already on your way to being a conservative borrower and in charge of your financial future. Remember, borrow conservatively and keep in contact with your school and lenders. Congratulations on your academic success and welcome to Rock Valley College.